Hello and welcome to the Wooden Ball Show. I'm your host, Dave Ball, also known as Blinson on Reddit and at Blinson1 on Twitter. With me, as always, I am joined by my partner in crime here, Blake Wood, also known as at ChatMikeKirk on Twitter and BTownBomb on Reddit. How you doing, Blake, on this Saturday?
Oh, Dave, I am cold.
Yeah, it's been snowing down there, hasn't it, for you?
It has been snowing, and it's been snowing quite a lot. It's not every day you
Uh,
get 3 inches. I know that is nowhere near impressive to the northern folk.
Yeah, that was like November for us.
I still love
But,
how we're getting all this wintry weather when it's almost March.
yeah, it's usually around February, March that the big weather hits. It's usually right before spring kind of starts in.
Yeah,
At least where it, like up where I am, where I am, it does that. So
and I did tell you about the 7 day forecast here, but I have to say it again because it is hilarious. Let's see. The high for today here is supposed to get up to just 32, and it's going to warm up a bit. 43 Sunday, 45 on Monday. Tuesday, we're still supposed to get precipitation of some kind, but it's going to be 70 degrees. The temperature is going to jump by about 30 degrees in a day. And then the following day, Wednesday, it's supposed to go down by 40 degrees again, somewhere in the low 30s, and wintry precip, all in 2 days. That's how drastically the weather is going to change here.
sounds like you're gonna have fun.
It's going to be exciting, yeah.
Yeah. So without further ado, I guess we kind of should get started, shouldn't we?
Oh
We'll
boy.
head right first thing into our contest, and I am still winning, 26-25.
Oh, it's still
Can't
very
beat me, Blake.
close.
Yes. We both, I think, got the same. We obviously both got the same number of correct because we were both 1-off last time. So the first game was Edmonton against Ottawa, and we both picked Ottawa, who ended up winning.
Yes, that,
We
that one
then
was
next
on a that one was a uh,
that was our
I guess
freebie one, right?
yeah, that was our freebie. Yeah, that
Yeah, it
that
was
one
like
was going on
like
wild
4-1,
comments.
5-1, or something like that. It was like 4-1,
Yeah,
5-1, or something. Yeah,
every time we go and check the game, Ottawa scores a lot.
yeah. So that was our freebie. The next game was Toronto against Montreal, with both of us picking Montreal, who ended up winning.
In a shootout,
Yeah,
which
it was like
I yeah, I might not have guessed that part, but it was a shootout.
was that game a shootout?
Hmm.
I don't remember that. Oh, okay. The game after that was Winnipeg against Detroit. I picked Winnipeg. You picked Detroit. Winnipeg won it.
Winnipeg won it in the shootout. Yes, 5-4. I
Yes.
think Winnipeg overcame a 2 or 3 goal deficit. I think it was.
Hmm. That was my birthday game, right? So I will open that up. Next game was Columbus against New York Islanders. We both picked the Islanders, who did end up winning. They ended
six
up
to
winning
three.
6-3. Yeah,
Yes.
they had a fairly good game. I guess they are actually a good team, it seems.
Josh Bailey, John Tavares, 2 goals in that game.
Yeah. Game after that was Devils against Nashville. Both picked Nashville. Nashville won it. They won it 3-1. So we
Steve
all kind
Bernier
of assumed
scoring the
Nashville was good.
only goal for New Jersey there on the power play, but Cullen, Wilson, and Smith for Nashville, and they take the win.
It was Carolina against Minnesota the next game. I picked Minnesota, and in your upset pick, you picked Carolina. And Minnesota did end up winning that game 6-3.
Minnesota jumped out to a 3-0 lead with 2 goals by Vanek and Jordan Schroeder, but Andre Nestrashil made it 3-1 after one. Prosser scored in the second, but Skinner and Lindholm score back-to-back. That makes it a close game there. Minnesota
Mhm.
gets 2 goals in the third, though. They get the win.
And the next game was New York Rangers versus Arizona. I picked the Coyotes in my upset pick of the week, and you picked the Rangers, with the Rangers ending up winning 5-1.
Arizona's biggest trade bait at the moment, Antoine Vermette, got the only goal in that one.
Yeah. So Dallas against Colorado. I picked Dallas. You picked Colorado, and Colorado ended up winning the game 4-1.
As I said, that one would be a battle of who'd be the better goalie, is what it would come down to, and it was Semyon Varlamov. Helped with the Colorado offense, helped with Landeskog, Tanguay, Iginla, and Everberg scoring the goals.
The next game up was Vancouver against Calgary. I picked Vancouver, as did you, and Calgary ended up winning the game 3-2.
3-2, yes. Calgary scored two in the first. Vancouver scored, or in the second. Vancouver scored in the first and second. Tied at two entering the third when Lance Boma, with a minute 41, scored his 10th, which ended up
Mm-hmm.
being the game winner.
And finally, the last game was Washington against the Kings. We both picked the Kings, who ended up winning 3-1.
Alex Ovechkin scoring the only goal for Washington in the third period. That was his 34th uh, of the season then.
I guess he currently lead in goal scoring right now? I believe he does. If the page would load, it would tell me.
Yes, 39 on the season. Rick Nash is close behind with 37.
Hmm. So, uh, pretty much Ovechkin's probably going to run away with the Rocket Richard again, in my opinion there.
At some point in time, yes.
Yeah. But we have kind of a looking at for the Art Ross trophy for the most points. Who do you think's going to end up winning that there?
Well,
We have
and let's
four people
also.
tied for 64.
Oh, we
Well,
do
three,
have.
because Patrick Kane is hurt now. So
Yes. So
he is
now,
out of the running. So it's down to Jakub Voracek, Nicholas Backstrom, and John Tavares.
yes. And close behind, Ovechkin and Crosby both have 62. Malkin has 61.
Who was your pick for it this year? You
Oh,
had just Malkin,
it's got to be Nicholas Backstrom.
you think?
Yeah, look at his consistency with his entire career with Washington. With still, I believe, at least getting a point in all of his games. I think
Mm-hmm.
so. Keep that consistency up. I mean, Washington may struggle a bit, but Ovechkin gets the goals. Backstrom gets the helpers.
And you think that he could pull away from JT and Jakub Voracek?
Yes,
Think that he has.
that's. I'm going bold with the Art Ross pick. That's my upset pick in the awards category.
I'm definitely going homerism and going Jakub Voracek. Jakub Voracek's got this. I think he can do it. So, all right, that wasn't even planned, but we're just gonna go with it. Trade deadline is Monday.
It is
This
Monday. It
has
is two
been
days away.
it has been really, or it's already kind of started really early this year. Last year, a lot of the deals were done day of,
Yep.
kind of just waiting for the pieces to fall. But this year, it started as early as basically the 11th, February 11th, with the Evander Kane trade.
Kane and Bogosian trade as well.
Mhm.
And
That's what I just said, the Evander Kane. Yeah.
there's still a
Mhm.
bunch of big name people out there who are being shopped around. So
Yeah.
we are.
Zuccarello, Sharp, Havlat are all being shopped around. They're like bigger name people.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like this is going to be a fun deadline if what's reported to happen is going to happen.
Yes, we are nowhere near
A lot
finished
has already
with
happened.
this.
Yeah. I think
And of
right now everyone's kind of just staring, waiting for the first piece to fall.
yeah, and
So,
of course, keep in mind trades can happen at any moment while we're speaking during this podcast. So be aware
hmm
of that. We'll be on top of it.
yeah, so we will see what happens there. I guess we'll kind of start covering the trades that have happened, though.
Have happened
Uh,
since the last time we covered trades.
yep.
So we begin with
First,
February 15th and go up the list to the most recent ones. First trade was the Toronto Maple Leafs dealing Cody Franzen and Mike Santorelli to Nashville. And in return, Toronto gets Olli Jokinen, Brendan Leipsic, and a 2015 first round pick, so a first round pick from or for this year's draft.
definitely an interesting trade. Toronto has officially said that they were going to start rebuilding. Something
Yes, they
that we everyone kind of thought they were already doing, but apparently it is an official rebuild now. It's been okayed by their ownership group.
yes, now they're
And
going
I'll
all
kind of
in. And keep in mind Dion Phaneuf and Phil Kessel were not included in these rebuilding plans. There are two big names right there that could be dealt sometime before Monday or on Monday.
mhm. Yeah, they didn't really. I didn't think they really got much for what they traded with this deal here, though. Personally, like if
They
you're
did.
rebuilding, I thought you would
Mhm.
go for more than one prospect and one pick, which is probably going to be a very late pick. I mean, they got Ollie Jokinen because Nashville needed to give up, money for it. Only reason
Yes.
Ollie Jokinen was included because they needed to give up money. But I feel like they could have got more than a prospect and one late first round pick. Personally.
Though, keep in mind, I do gather the Leafs are also maybe beginning to want to ship out Olli Jokinen somewhere, flip him around for
Yeah.
something. They could get a prospect and or a pick out of that.
hmm Yeah, but that's if anybody wants him. He's been passed around the sleeves
Yes.
so much. Who knows
Mm-hmm.
if people will want an Ollie Jokinen? I know I don't want him on my team. He's 36 years old, so he's not young by any, version of the word. How much longer is on his contract? Let me look that up 1 second. If NH we are not using NHL numbers is terrible, but it's all we really have now. It will load. Ali Jokinen currently he's in his last year of the deal, so if they don't flip him at the deadline, they let him walk basically. So yeah, I'm not sure that Toronto got enough for this trade.
Well, there's still plenty more for them to do. I don't think this would
In two
be.
days though, yeah.
Yeah, there's still plenty more for them to do. There's a lot of people that have been passed around.
Yep. So we'll see what happens there with them. I guess head on to the next trade unless you have anything else you want to cover with that.
Then a few days after the 15th, February 24th, we had two trades go down that day. The
hmm
Anaheim Ducks send Devontae Smith-Pelly to the Montreal Canadiens, and in return, Anaheim gets Yuri Sekach, a simple player-for-player trade.
hmm
Now, this one I found to
on the
be a bit surprising because Smith-Pelly and Sekach, to me, appeared to be up-and-coming fan favorites for both of their
mhm.
teams. Sekach was having a pretty good year for Montreal to start out the season, and Smith Pelly was kind of beginning to gain some footing in Anaheim.
Mhm. I know it was a very surprising deal. On the D4 show last night, we were talking about this trade, and LA Dave pointed out that he does not understand this trade whatsoever,
Yeah.
just because of the two different type of players that they are.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Devontae Smith-Pelly is a power forward in all senses of the word. He's very physical, and to play in the Western Conference, especially the Pacific Division, being physical is something that you need to be. And trading away one of their most physical players may not have been the best for them, especially one of their youngest physical players. I think that's what he brought up, and he knows a little bit more about the Pacific Division than I do.
Mm-hmm.
So,
And then the
your thoughts
next
on that?
trade that occurred later in that day, the Florida
Mm-hmm.
Panthers send Sean Bergenheim and a 2016 seventh round pick to Minnesota, and Florida gets a 2016 third round pick from that.
Mm-hmm.
So you can tell that trade
This,
was
yeah.
that trade to me at face value is mainly just dumping Sean Bergenheim somewhere else.
Yeah,
There,
he hasn't been playing for them. I'm pretty sure he's been scratched for a little bit.
mm-hmm.
Then he said wasn't happy with the management group that they had, and
Yes,
wasn't most likely wasn't going to resign. So that's why they got rid of him, so they can get something for him.
and there was the story that came out about the Panthers head coach kind of uh, getting into him with some rather somewhat harsh criticism regarding Bergenheim.
Hmm. Yeah. So I guess before we continue on, we have two games being played right now: Florida Buffalo and Detroit Nashville. Do we want to for those
Yes,
currently being played? And there was already goals scored in there, so I figured.
yes, and Buffalo, Florida. That one might actually be a close game of considering especially Buffalo's been uh, a little bit better over the past week or so.
They traded they traded for Yarmer Yager recently, as well as
Mm-hmm.
giving up and trading for Danley Heatley.
Mm-hmm.
So they've been active this trade deadline more so than we're used to them being active. But I'm not quite sure what type of active they are being, because Danny Heatley is not really an NHL player anymore. So and to give
Yeah.
up Tom Tomasz Fleischmann for him, I'm kind of confused with it.
So far, in this game, oh, and let's see. There's 12:36 on the clock in the first, 12:42 and counting, and Buffalo is already up 2-0. Cody Hodgson got his fourth, 2:57 into the first, and 7:18 into the first. Andre Mazzaro's former Flyer, Dave, got
Hmm.
his third, an assist by Johan Larsson. And Buffalo so far is outshooting them in this early stage of the game, 3-1. They're already up
Hmm.
by two.
I mean, you can never
Meanwhile,
count Florida out in any game.
yes,
I
which
feel like
yeah, which is a huge
they've been
improvement
really good
from
this year. Yeah.
yeah,
Like they're one of those teams they kind of didn't really expect to be good, especially after picking first overall last year to get Ekblad. But bringing in Roberto Luongo really helped them.
oh, and Ekblad has been tremendous for them as well.
Mm. And now since they traded for Yager, they actually have a very, good. They have a very good player in a top six now, like a very big name player to help them, and a very veteran presence to kind of add to that young team there.
Yeah, and we have another game going on at this time, and there is a scoring update. There's 10:30 and counting. In the first, the Detroit Red Wings are in Nashville to take on the Predators, and already, with shots tied at 3, there is already one goal in favor of Detroit. Brendan Smith, with assists by Stephen Weiss and Drew Miller. That's his fourth of the season. 7:22 into the first, Detroit up 1-0.
So who are you picking for the Florida Buffalo game?
Oh boy, so far with this start, it, I know it's
I'm picking
Buffalo,
Buffalo.
and yeah,
I'm picking
it,
Buffalo.
I would
I
have
do
to
not
go
want
with
Florida to win.
Buffalo as well.
Okay.
I know it's early in the game, and I know I'm not watching the game at all, but
Mm-hmm.
judging by what I'm seeing on the stat sheet, it really seems like Florida is into this game so far.
I want them to lose so bad. But yeah. So Detroit, Nashville. I am picking Nashville.
Yes.
They are the best team in the league right now.
Hmm.
They have an amazing six defensemen. Like their defense is so deep. You cannot count them out whatsoever.
It is incredibly deep now. Seth Jones is now, or could now probably be considered in Nashville on their depth chart a third defenseman or a third pairing
Third
defenseman.
pairing.
Yeah.
Their current defensive lineup, if it will, load for me. Everything's taking a little bit to load right now for some reason. Their current defensive setup is Roman Yossi and Shea Weber as their top pairing, Matthias Ekholm and Cody Franson as their second pairing, and then Seth Jones and Victor Bartley as their third pairing,
My goodness.
with Anton Volchenkov sitting in the off at injury reserve. They have a very deep defensive core.
My goodness. Yes.
I mean, their forwards aren't bad by a long shot, with Philip Forsberg and Mike Ribeiro and James Neal center on that top line. You can't ever count them out. So I'm picking
Yes.
Nashville for this game.
And especially considering Detroit's been kind of iffy as of late.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I don't see how Nashville can lose this game, even though they're down by 1.
Mm-hmm. All right, so we're both picking the same teams,
So there's our 2 picks for the afternoon games.
and we will go back to our trade talk then
Yes, February,
with us. Yeah, okay.
or
25th.
these next two days, the 25th and the 26th, were very active. But beginning with the 25th,
Mm-hmm.
the Carolina Hurricanes was involved in 2 of these 3 trades on the 25th. They begin by shipping Yuri Tolusti out to Winnipeg, and in return, Carolina got a 2016 third round pick and a conditional 2015 sixth round pick.
Mm-hmm. Uh, I I'm not actually sure how this trade works for either team. I guess the Hurricanes have officially again decided to start rebuilding, so they're kind of jettisoning all their players away. I'm not quite
Yes.
sure how good Yuri Tbilisi is. You would know more. You've watched the more Carolina games than I have, so.
Yuri Tolusti is not one to create plays, but if you can find someone to pair with him that can create plays, oh my goodness,
Mm,
can he finish?
okay. So you
Checking
kind of
out
just need
his,
a. Mhm.
yeah, you just need, and
You just
and
need
and,
someone
and
to
I
do it.
think, yeah, and I think Winnipeg has that person with them.
Hmm. Who do you think he's going to be paired with
Uh,
up in the Jets, Winnipeg?
well, I know his debut with Winnipeg was against St. Louis. I did not catch who he was on a line with, however. Checking out his
I
season
can see
stats
that.
so
So
far, he does have 13 goals and 10 assists. That means 23 points. 6 of those goals were on the power play, only 16 penalty minutes.
he's currently sitting on their second line, but I feel like the lines are going to be shuffled up once Blake Wheeler gets put back into the lineup.
Yes.
So
And what's that second line currently?
it's Lucy, Mark, Shifali. I don't know that name, and then Drew Stafford.
Oh, yeah, see? Mark Scheifele is
Shifali, thank
a
you.
good player, yeah.
Why you gotta ask me about these names? Uh, yes. So
And that
let's.
was followed by the Toronto Maple Leafs sending Daniel Winnick to the Pittsburgh Penguins, and in return, Toronto gets Zach Sill, a 2016 second round pick, and a 2015 fourth round pick.
Daniel Winnick. This trade is kind of trying to help the Penguins finally get a bottom six, because everyone knows they outside their top six, they are not that deep. And even right now, with Pascal Dupree being out, they don't really have that deep of a top six. So it's kind of, I guess this is trying to help them get more scoring depth than they've had. This is the first time since 2000, I want to say like 2008, that they're not in. They weren't first, second, or third for a while. For a while, they were sitting in the wild card spot. So they're trying their best to try to move back up the rankings with this to get better defense, to get better scoring depth. It's the main reasoning I'm kind of seeing for this deal for the Penguin side. And for the Toronto, they are getting 2 picks to help their rebuild. So
Mm-hmm. And also Zach Sill, who I gather is not a good hockey player,
he,
to
yeah, he is
help out in their tank campaign.
he is a bottom six.
Yes.
So,
The
not
biggest trade of the day, however, the final trade of the day on the 25th, just 3 days ago then. Yes, 3 days ago.
yep.
The Carolina Hurricanes again make a move. They send Andre Sekera to the Los Angeles Kings, and in return, this trade was simply amazing. In return, Carolina gets a conditional first round pick. That condition is that the Los Angeles Kings make the playoffs.
hmm
That's it.
That's
And
it.
Rowan McCown, a defensive prospect from the Kings organization. This was a great trade for both teams.
hmm
Los Angeles gets Sekera, who, at the very least, is also a serviceable rental. Depending on how the Slava Voinov case goes, of course,
Yeah.
and if he's convicted, that would free up some cap space that they could re-sign Sekera and keep him around.
I know that the Kings fans have been wanting for him for a while now. So
Mm-hmm.
I guess that's kind of they got what they wanted. So
The Kings' defense hadn't really been up to par as of late. Now they get somebody serviceable to shore up their defensive unit. They're looking good again.
hmm so we will see kind of how everything goes down there.
And Carolina, on the other hand, my goodness, if I had to pick a
Is
winner,
if they don't make the playoffs, what does that pick become?
I have no idea. I didn't check on that. That's a good
Because it's
question.
usually it will be usually what is for the pick. It might be the year, I guess, because I don't think a year is announced with it.
Mm-hmm.
If they make the playoffs, it'll probably be this year. If they don't make the playoffs, it might be next year. Let me look that up. Because usually you say what the lowest lowest it could be, the lowest round it could be is usually what it says along with the conditional word conditional. I don't see anything here about it. Like, you still there?
Yes.
Okay, you just went very quiet. I didn't hear any white noise, so it sounded like you were gone. While I look this up, why don't you start going on to the next trade?
Oh, well, the Carolina side, if I had to pick a winner of this trade, it would probably be Carolina. For the sole purpose that this really helps that rebuild, really kicks it into high gear. They get that conditional first round pick, and again, that only condition is that the Kings make the playoffs.
Yeah,
And
as I thought. It's if they make the playoffs, it's this year's 2016 first round, 2015 first round pick. If they miss it, it will be a 2016 first round pick.
hmm
So,
and this prospect, especially this prospect, is pretty good. McCown, a defenseman, and Carolina has been shipping off defensemen mainly.
mhm.
This is Sekera was the second of the three defensemen they traded off. They sent Jay Harrison to Winnipeg earlier in the year, but uh, and I'll get into a broader topic here when talking about this. Uh, there's a more different reason, a much bigger reason why a player such as Connor McDavid would help Carolina out a lot. If Connor McDavid goes to Buffalo, that just makes Buffalo good. If Connor McDavid goes to Edmonton, they do whatever they have done, which is not really good. It's a unique situation in Carolina because if Connor McDavid goes to Carolina, he might not. It might take a few more top high profile name draft picks, but if he goes there, it would go a long way in the bigger picture, which is getting better again so that Carolina doesn't have to move.
Mhm.
There's been uh, several relocation rumors surrounding the Hurricanes organization the past few seasons, and getting a player such as McDavid, getting Rowan McCown in your organization, that goes a long way in making the Hurricanes a playoff team again,
Mhm.
so that you can kill off these relocation rumors.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
Yes, but that was a great trade for
Mhm.
Carolina there, despite trading off one of their best defensemen. Um, it was pretty much a given that Carolina was going to part ways with Sekera at some point.
Mhm. Was this his last year of his deal? Do you know?
That I'm not too familiar with.
Okay. Because if it was, then it's obvious he most likely wouldn't have re-signed with them, with how
Yes.
not good they were.
hmm
So, the next trades. Now we've had quite a few trades on the 26th this year.
Four trades on the
Yeah.
26th. It was a very active day in the National Hockey League. It began with a simple trade-off here. The Columbus Blue Jackets returned Adam Cracknell to St. Louis, and St. Louis in turn gave them just some future considerations.
Whatever
I
that may be.
Yes, and I have to tell you, nobody in the league really seems to like this future considerations person.
Stealing my
He's been
joke.
shipped around so much.
How dare you steal my joke that I stole from other people?
it's a very serviceable joke there.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll. So yeah, it's kind of a non-deal deal type thing.
Yes,
Looks
Adam.
like you guys already sent him down to the minors.
Yes, sent him down to Chicago there. Let's see. The Chicago Blackhawks sent T.J. Brennan, a defenseman, to Toronto, and Toronto sends Spencer Abbott, a forward, back to Chicago. That one was also a not a major trade.
Mm.
Now we get into the big ones. The last two are pretty big.
Yeah.
The New Jersey Devils send Jaromir Jagr fire up the tour bus again because Jaromir Jagr is now headed to the Sunshine State, specifically the Florida Panthers. And in return, the Panthers send New Jersey a 2015 second round pick and a 2016 third round pick.
The Devils got so much for Yager. You
They
know,
did. Hmm.
they won that trade with the two picks they got. I think many people kind of understand that Yager might not be worth the two higher picks right there. So,
Yeah.
I mean, Yager's still a good player. I got to give him this dues. He's still a good player,
Oh,
but
yeah.
he's 43 years old, and who knows what they're going to be doing if he'll even fit in Florida. I mean, he might help their top. He's brought in there for most likely his veteran presence. So we will see what kind of happens there. It's very interesting to kind of watch what Florida is trying to do, trying to get into the playoffs now after
Oh,
being out
yes.
for I think 2 years now. Have they been out 2, 3 years?
And they're not
2012,
and
20
they're
the 2012
currently
season. Yeah,
and they're currently not too far out of the wild card spots.
yeah. They are currently 4 points out right now, but they have Philly 2 points behind them also.
Hmm. Any games in hand?
They have one game in hand on Philly and are tied with Boston.
Hmm.
So it's gonna come down to the wire.
And the final trade of the day, how about this one? The
Oof.
Toronto Maple, or wait,
Yes.
perfect build-up. The Columbus Blue Jackets send Nathan Horton to the Toronto Maple Leafs, and in return, Columbus gets David Clarkson.
The deal that nobody saw coming, especially considering it was Columbus that went to Toronto about this trade.
Yes.
It was very surprising for anybody who it was really watching it. Everyone thought that Clarkson was going to most likely finish out his career in Toronto with signing that big deal. But
Other
Columbus,
yes, other people thought at the very least maybe Toronto and Ottawa could work out a deal, so Clarkson could kind of uh, rediscover himself in a different location there.
mhm. But this was very surprising because they traded for a player who is most likely done his career because of an injury in Nathan Horton.
Yes.
His
Hmm.
degenerative back disease like condition is most likely not allowing him to play ever again. And since his contract was not insured, I think it was counting against the cap for Toronto for the Columbus. So it they got rid of a player that they were just paying to sit on the bench and got a player that they can pay to, maybe not score a bunch of goals, but at least he's playing. And then Toronto, they could just buy him out. They don't have that big like cap like money problems like Columbus does. They can easily afford to buy out Nathan Horton. I think that was the big deal with Toronto getting there. A player they can just easily get rid of.
Yeah. And the winner of this trade, actually, Columbus,
Hmm. I believe it.
because uh, because for starters, there's Nathan Horton, who he's on LTIR, I believe.
Hmm.
Yeah. So they get rid of that, I guess, burden.
Hmm.
But also, a lot of people don't seem to realize a lot of the money from that Clarkson contract, not the majority of it, but a lot, was the signing bonus.
Hmm.
Boil that down, and that contract is not as terrible as it's made out to be.
I personally think that the trade is a wash for both. They both made out good in the end.
Hmm.
So still good for Toronto to good for Nonis getting rid of Clarkson.
Yes, and it'll be fun to see David Clarkson in a different atmosphere.
It'll be great to see the two cops in the force get together on the same team, with
Yes.
Clarkson being the water bottle police, and with Borowski being the number one cop on the force. It'll be great to see the two together. So,
That
I'm reusing jokes that I used last night.
one was an excellent one, though.
Now this next trade, which I am still firmly denying is in existence.
And the worst part is you have to say something about it because you're more familiar with it than I am.
Yeah, I
The
don't wanna.
details, the details. Uh, Trigger warning,
Okay.
Dave. Dave can cover his ears for this next couple
Uh,
seconds or so, but the Philadelphia Flyers ship Kimo Timonen to the Chicago Blackhawks, and in return, Philadelphia gets a 2015 second round pick and a 2016 conditional fourth round pick.
and that conditional is very, very like weird in my opinion. If Chicago makes it to the Western Conference Finals and Timonen plays in at least 50% of those games, it'll become a third round. Like 50% of that round he has to play in.
Was that their exact wording? 50%?
50% of the round 3 games.
Mm.
So it's not even he doesn't even have to play like the first 2 rounds of the playoffs. As long as he plays in the like at least I guess if it's a sweep as long as he plays in 2 games, then it becomes a third round pick. And if they make it to the Stanley Cup Finals, it'll become a second round pick with him having to play 50% of the games in the Stanley Cup Finals.
That does seem rather complicated, I guess.
Yeah. But for to get but to get 2 picks and two, I guess, higher round picks, one being at the this year's second round pick, with this year draft being very deep. It's great. We didn't have a second round pick before this, so having a second round pick now is awesome. And to get 2 picks for a player that hasn't played since April 30th of last year, just starting skating in January, it's amazing. He's only been skating with the team for 2 weeks now,
Mm-hmm.
2 3 weeks. It's great that Hextall was able to get players to get 2 picks for Kimo Timonen. And if Kimo Timonen hasn't lost a step after what he was last year, then Chicago does have they have a great player on their team.
Yes.
He knows how to quarterback a power play, even though they probably already have quarterbacks. He knows how to bark commands on the penalty kill. He is such a good penalty killer. There's no mistake that he was the reason our penalty kill was one of the top in the league last year. When this year, without him on it, we are 28th in the league. I'm pretty sure he was the surefire reason about that. Why the penalty kill fell off because he wasn't playing. Because he just understands this game so much. And I personally now hate that I have to root for Chicago to win the cup.
Well, well, just root for the player and not the team. Root for
Still,
100% of the goals and points to come from Kimo
and that
Timonen.
means if Chemo wins it, Dan Carcillo wins another cup.
Oh, well,
It makes me very angry.
well. And Chicago's in a bit of a bind at the moment with the uh,
Patrick Kane going
injuries.
down. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
It,
Uh, their defense, even before Kane went down, their defense was an issue, and it was one that they were wanting to address.
mm,
And now, even more, this didn't probably will not be the end from them. They're looking to add a forward now, with the absence of Kane, and they'd be willing to trade Patrick Sharp for whoever they get as a forward.
mm-hmm. So,
And lastly, 2 trades from today so far. We're only about 2:45 Central Time into the day.
Mm,
But so far, here are the two trades. The Carolina Hurricanes are back at it. They send defenseman Tim Gleason to the Washington Capitals, and in return, Carolina gets Jack Hillen and a 2015 fourth round pick. Solid defenseman for defenseman trade there,
mm-hmm.
which is good for Carolina because again, so far this season, Carolina has shipped out three defensemen. I
And
mean,
they got a fourth round pick out of it too in a
yes, yeah,
deep draft, so it's a 2015, so it could be a very good pick for them.
yes. Ron Francis is being an amazing general manager right now.
He knows how to rebuild, so it looks like it.
Yeah, and most recently, uh, the Florida Panthers sent for Tomas Fleischmann to Anaheim, and in return, Florida will get Danny Heatley and a 2015 third round pick.
Hmm. So very surprising trade. I think Fleischman was there in their was on their team and like their top. I think it was a third line player for them, and they went after Danley Heatley, who at this point is an AHLer. He was on the AHL team. Like, I'm not sure what Florida is trying to do. Do they think it's 2007 or something with, trading for Yager
I,
and Heatley?
I was about to say, too, the Florida Panthers are now, without a doubt, the best team in NHL 2005.
Yeah, like, I am very confused by this deal.
And, more than likely, I think the more realistic scenario could be, considering the state of the Florida Panthers right now,
Hmm.
at the very least, they'd suit up Heatley for, maybe just a couple games, see what he can do. But I feel that in the end, at some point in time, they'll just send him back to the AHL, this time to San Antonio.
Hmm. But they might not because they lost a third line player. He might be on Florida now for some reason.
Yes, that is true.
Let me see if they have announced if they're setting him down. I don't think they have, though. It doesn't look like they have announced if they're setting him down or not. Oh, it does say he's expected to report to San Antonio. So,
Ah, well,
we will see. I guess that may have just been the big deal for that pick there. It's kind of what I guess they were hoping for, that third round pick of this year. And maybe Fleischman wasn't going to resign. I'm not quite sure. Let me see what his contract looks like. His where is his name? Why did they take me to the Panthers? Uh, he is on Anaheim now, isn't he? He is a UFA after this year, so he's a rental piece too. They're both rental piece with Fleischman being worth $1.1 million, so they probably weren't going to re-sign him, which is why they traded him away.
well.
So,
So far, that is all the trades that have occurred in between the time, or since the time we last talked about trades.
mm-hmm.
So to count again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 13 trades in this 13-day period from the 15th to the 28th, with plenty more to come, yes.
Mm-hmm.
As we had mentioned, it's the NHL trade deadline is coming up Monday. What's the time for that deadline?
Noon, I think.
Noon
I
Eastern?
think it's noon Eastern. Yeah.
Oh gosh, hopefully I'm. Oh, it's so early. Wasn't last year's like 3 in the afternoon or something?
I'm not sure. I'm actually looking it up right now.
I don't. I
3
don't.
p.m.
Goodness, I don't remember a trade deadline being this early.
It's at 3 p.m.
Oh
So
goodness.
3 p.m. Eastern. So it'll be noon Western.
Oh, so 2 p.m. Central then.
Yes. So it's earlier. So it's later. But still, we're going to see a lot of probably things happen tomorrow. I feel like
Tomorrow, yeah.
I think it's going to be all Sunday with very staggered things on Monday, if any, because a lot of pieces have already fallen, so everyone's kind of running around going for their plan D's and E's now at this point.
And especially considering well, though I will say, also looking at the schedules of games for Monday, you have Carolina, Chicago, Nashville, and the Rangers, and Montreal and San Jose. Um, maybe only two of those, well, three of those teams are really have people they want to trade. So
Hmm.
and the first game starts at 6 Central. So I don't know. I still think we could see plenty of action there on that Monday with the timing of the games and who all is
Hmm.
playing.
Yeah, we probably see something there, so
Hmm.
it'll
But
be a good. It's gonna be a good trade deadline. So
I think most of the trading this season's already been pretty
done.
good, pretty exciting. But I suppose though, yeah, I still have a feeling.
Do you
I
see your
agree
team
with
doing
you
anything
there.
else?
Well, um, I'd like to see the team grab a defenseman
Hmm.
because this team really misses Kevin Shattenkirk. This power play without Kevin Shattenkirk is not good. I
We
feel like
have
he's
a
our
gently used
biggest.
Andrew MacDonald you could use.
Oh,
How
I'm not.
about a less gently used Nick Grossman?
Oh, I'm not that desperate.
Come on, Nick Grossman's only signed for next year, basically. It's only signed for next year, so it's a very young, like left, not much left contract. It's only $3.5 million a
Though,
year.
though actually, you have said some wonderful things about Nick Grossman in the pre-show, so I
He's
reckon it.
actually, if you have him in a bottom four role, but if you try to put him in a, not bottom four role, I guess bottom, if you put him as a 5-6 or like 4-5-6 defenseman, he'll be very good. But have him as a 1, 2, or 3, he's going to struggle a little bit.
Yeah,
That is my kind of take on it.
I was thinking more along the lines of going for a home run swing and going for one Keith Yandel.
That would be a very good thing,
Yeah,
especially with how Chicago is kind of gearing up, with how Nashville's gearing up. Your team definitely needs to start gearing up for the playoffs.
yeah,
The Central Division arm race is going big. I mean, even the Jets have geared up a little bit.
yes.
So,
The Jets are finally making moves. Yeah, although it seems as though from the way that all the writers are writing about and from the posturing that I've seen from Doug Armstrong and whatnot, it appears as though they will do trades, but for something I'd rather them not trade for in a
hmm.
center.
Okay. We have a center available too. We have a gently used Vinny LeCavalier if you want him.
No, we're not that desperate again. So
If you need it, we have it.
there's been two names at the center position. I think one of them is a
Okay.
center that have gained some traction here.
Hmm.
Antoine Vermette from Arizona. I think he's a center.
Hmm.
And the other being Jeff Petrie from Edmonton.
Who is officially scratched today.
Yes, who is
So
officially
something
scratched.
could be going on there.
Yes,
I mean,
and
we've seen a few players scratched today. Martin Havlat was scratched. Who else was scratched? There was another big name player that got scratched earlier. I'm not quite sure who it was, but we're kind of seeing how things going. I
Hmm.
think it was Dan Cleary that was scratched, actually, so not a big name player.
Yeah. And the two teams that appear to be in on Petrie, one of them is playing Edmonton at 9. That would be
Mhm.
St. Louis. And the other, Boston, is playing a 4:30 Central Time game.
Yeah. Scoring update, I guess. At the end of the first for both teams, Buffalo is up 2-0, and Detroit is up 1-0. So nothing has changed.
Should be some pretty good
Yeah,
second periods, though, in both games, I think. I think Florida gets a goal at the least.
yeah, they're gonna probably gonna get a goal. Uh, what's their what's the goaltender? His name starts with an N for
Let's.
Buffalo.
Oh, yes. Let's see who's starting for Buffalo. Looks like Neuver, yeah.
That's his name, yeah, Neuber.
Hmm.
He is not that great of a goaltender, so they're probably going to have a goal scored on one, at least one goal scored. But it'll be interesting to see if Buffalo can hold on. I hope
Roberto
they do.
Luongo so far has a .667 save percentage.
That's not going to last long.
Oh, yeah.
That's not going to last. For
Yeah.
being as, Roberto Luongo is actually fairly old, but he is such a good goaltender.
Yes.
So good for like such a long time. How old is Luongo right now? In his mid 30s, he's 35, and he's been very good for almost his entire career, really.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he won gold with Canada in 2010. Was the starting goaltender almost everywhere he went. So I'm very happy to see him playing in a place that actually likes him. With going back to the Panthers, but yeah, we will see what kind of goes on there. Very
Yes.
interesting to see how this all goes.
Yes. Very interesting 2 days coming up, especially with the trade deadline coming up. So
Hmm
keep that in
I,
mind.
I guess we head into our game previews.
Yes, we have.
First game is we already previewed Buffalo, Florida, Detroit, Nashville, basically.
Yes.
So
8 other games going on, 10 games in total today.
first game being Carolina against the Islanders.
That one's set to start in an hour now.
Hmm
That one from the Nassau Veterans Memorial Coliseum thingy in Uniondale, New York. That will be this will be the last appearance by Carolina in the arena, since the Islanders will be moving to Brooklyn next season.
Yes, I'm very excited. Hopefully, the Islanders can start, getting more fans to really show up to their games.
Yes,
Though
the
the arena
Islanders.
seating is kind of weird. Eh,
Yes,
they hopefully can turn it around there with their
yes,
fan base. I mean, they're already turning their team around, so. But
yes. The New York Islanders have 84 points. They are fourth in the league currently. They're only 1 point back from second, back behind Montreal and Anaheim.
mhm.
And they also lead the Metropolitan Division. They are 2 points ahead of the Rangers.
If you told me last year the Islanders are going to be leading the division this year, I would have laughed in your face.
I agree.
I mean, last year were they last place in our division last year? Let me see.
Carolina.
No, they were below Carolina last year.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, they had 79 points while Carolina had 83.
Oh,
So it's amazing to see how getting, Boychuk and Letty and Halak has really changed this team around. Getting two very good defensemen and a very, very good goaltender. So,
yes. Yaroslav Halak, already now in his first season with the Islanders, has set an Islanders record the other day. Look it up.
the most wins in a NHL season, I think it was 33 wins.
I believe that's what that was.
Far hockey would
Yes.
load.
The Isles' single season win record. He has 33 wins at the moment. And, that's just a testament to how improved the Islanders have been this season.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Yeah. But it's interesting to see how do you think this game's going to wind out since you kind of have a rooting interest in this game.
Yes.
Who's your pick?
Well, even though Carolina's coming off big, they beat Washington last night 3-0.
Hmm.
It is a back-to-back for them, and for Carolina, as is for really any team in the league, back-to-backs aren't their strongest suit,
Hmm.
and they'll be in New York. The Islanders once again, good team there. They have the home ice advantage there going for them.
Hmm.
I got to give the Islanders the win in that one.
Okay. I have done the same, so I'm I'm pretty sure they are most likely going to win it.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Carolina not being as great, so. And going into the next game, it is New Jersey against Columbus. Kind of a battle of the lower end of the Metropolitan Division here.
Yes, yes. Considering where both teams are at in the standings, this would be an exciting game. Not much would change, though. Well, in terms of these two teams against each other, New Jersey has 60 points. Columbus has 56. With a win, New Jersey. Uh, with a win and a Philadelphia loss, New Jersey would be 1 point behind the Flyers.
Hmm. I don't see New Jersey winning. They got rid of their best player in Jaromir Jagr. I
Uh,
think it'll be very tough for them to win without
I
him.
also, yeah, that would be. Ooh, mm. Yeah, this would be an exciting game. I think.
Hmm.
See how the post Yager Devils would handle not having Yager.
Hmm.
And actually, I'd still have to go with New Jersey on this one.
I am going with the Columbus Blue Jackets. Uh,
Now,
it's
I'm
it's not my upset pick, obviously, because they're both lower
yes,
end teams.
yes.
But
Now, okay, now I'm still sticking with New Jersey, of course. I have to.
mhm.
Is Corey Schneider starting in net?
Let me look. Because if not, they're most likely not going to win.
Well,
Because he is literally their like only good goaltender, isn't he? Yeah, it's Corey Schneider against Curtis McElhaney.
yes. And McElhaney, too, he's a good backup.
Yeah,
So that should be an interesting goalie duel. But I still feel New Jersey would get the edge in that one.
I just don't see it. The New Jersey just doesn't have the offense to be able to win anymore. But degree to disagree here.
Mm-hmm.
We want to be different. That's the
Yes.
whole point of this.
Yes.
So the next game is Arizona against Boston. And I am using this for my upset pick of the week, going with Arizona over Boston. It's just kind of two kind of things combined with my wanting to pick this. One, I just kind of feel like Arizona is is basically trying to trade away their team, so they are trying to get out. Like I feel like players kind of want to try to get out for this trade deadline, so they're going to play really
They want
well.
to up their own trade value there,
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm kind of feeling that. And two, I really do not want Boston to win
Right.
because we are fighting for the playoffs against them. And they're currently 6 points out, so them losing and us winning would cause us to be only 4 points out.
Is My assumption is that Tukarask is in net for the
I think
Bruins
isn't
tonight.
he hurt now? I
Oh, is he?
think he's hurt.
Hmm.
So it is it, uh he's not hurt, but it's not announced who is starting. The Stugarosk is currently first on the depth chart, but it's unconfirmed if he's playing or not. Not quite sure if he's hurt. But it says he was sick, but he's expected to dress on Saturday for the Coyotes. But we will see. It's a game time decision.
Hmm. Now, for me, on the other hand, then, I want this to be my upset pick, but I just can't do it. I can't bring myself to pick against Boston in this particular situation here.
Hmm.
I mean, there's the whole playing to up your trade value and whatnot, but
Hmm.
who isn't uh, the Coyotes' defense? Maybe with the exception of Keith Yandel, but the defense they have nothing to worry about, so they
Okay.
might play like that. So I feel uh, it'll be a battle of Boston's offense versus the defense of Arizona. And in that battle, I would definitely pick Boston's offense still any day.
Okay. Down for Boston. You can't change it now.
Mm-hmm.
The next game is Toronto against Montreal. Toronto going full on tanking now, with Montreal being very good, is forcing me to pick Montreal in this one.
Yes, Montreal is back on an upswing, which you know uh, is amazing, especially considering who's between the pipes there for them. Uh,
Yeah, this game tonight is going to be Jonathan Bernier against Carey Price.
yes,
So
and Bernier does have that tendency to play out of his mind
yeah, I
on
know.
occasion. So, you know, maybe
He
tonight is that night for them.
Unless he's still tired from the Flyers game on Thursday,
Oh
where
yes.
he saved 47 shots when his team got outshot 49-17 and outchanced 89-37.
Mm-hmm.
We had more shots on goals than they've had chances at the net, and we lost. I'm still angry. I'm still angry. I hate Jonathan Bernier. I hate him, but he is a very very good goaltender. He plays out of his mind sometimes, and just
Yes,
unreal to
I think
watch.
he's a really good goaltender when he wants to be.
Hmm. Yeah,
But
but Carey Price is Carey Price.
yes, and especially considering the offense is surging again, whereas when they weren't, Harry Price was more than capable of keeping his team in games.
Hmm.
So
And now with his team scoring, he's still gonna keep him in the game, but he's gonna have support finally,
yes,
which
so
is
give
exactly what a
me
goaltender wants.
give me Montreal in this one.
Okay. So next game, New York Rangers against Philadelphia,
And
two
this is a
metropolitan longtime rivals.
yes prime time game on NBC. 7
Hmm.
o'clock Central start.
8 o'clock Eastern for everyone else to kind of
Yes,
everyone bases their time off Eastern. So
yes,
it's
and the Rangers are going for a franchise record 11 wins in the month of February. So, they've been really rolling in this month of February here.
and the Flyers have themselves been very rolling. Since the All Star break, they only lost 3 games in regulation.
Hmm.
So against
Well,
very low end teams, and those 3 teams were the Hurricanes, the Leafs, and Columbus. The only games that they lost since the All Star break in regulation. All the other games they've gotten at least 1 point. So they have been surging themselves, and it's going to be fun with Steve Mason's first full game back since the surgery
hmm
now, and
and
they're fighting for the playoffs. So hopefully they can pull it out against a team that has often been very, very tough to beat.
and is Lundqvist back? I have not
Nope,
been
he is
paying
still
attention
hurt.
that
Cam
much. Okay.
Talbot is still. is confirmed to be playing against Steve Mason.
Oh, yes. And well, and um, of course, with how the Rangers have been doing, you can tell that Cam Talbot has been doing very well in this
Hmm.
starting role here.
Yeah, Count Talbot has his moments where he is actually a very good goaltender.
Hmm.
I can personally attest to that because he shut us out twice this season. So he's definitely going to be a very tough goaltender to beat. That being said, I am going Homer and going with Philadelphia.
I would well, but I would also have to be inclined to go with the Rangers here.
Hmm. I understand.
Rick Nash and their offense. Philadelphia will make a game out of it still, but I think New York has that little extra edge.
Hmm. Okay. And now a repeat of earlier we were talking about a Minnesota Colorado game again. That was the exact game that we covered last week, I believe.
Yes.
So, yeah, who do you think? I'm going with Minnesota on this. Minnesota with Devin. Is Devin Dubnyk starting tonight? Yep, it's Devin Dubnyk starting, and he is a very good, somehow a very good goaltender again. He remembered that he doesn't have to flail to try to save things like he did in Edmonton. He's
Yeah.
finally kind of started turning everything around.
Yeah.
Taking his 20th straight start. Is he getting tired now? Is kind of a big thing, actually.
Though, considering um, Thursday night, I guess, then is when it was.
Hmm.
Yes, he did lead Minnesota to a 4-2 win over the number one Nashville Predators in regulation.
Hmm.
On the other side, however, my assumption would be that Varlamov would be getting the start for Colorado.
It is not confirmed yet.
Oh, if so, that'd be a pretty good goalie duel to look out for there.
Hmm. It would be.
But Devin Dubnyk has the Wild rolling again. The defense is back and healthy, back to the way they were. The offense is starting to roll again. Uh, Devin Dubnyk has led the Wild's resurgence.
Hmm.
So that will continue tonight, I feel. Give me the Minnesota Wild.
Okay. And the next game, which is one you have a rooting interest in, St. Louis against Edmonton. I wonder which team we're both gonna pick.
It'd be an exciting pick, certainly.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure we're both going with St. Louis on this.
Yeah, I think that would be a fair assessment.
Do you want to give an overview of this game?
Now, I'll tell you that this is the second game of what I feel is a very winnable 7 games. I think all 7 of them may be on the road for the Blues. They did beat Winnipeg. The Thursday night, I believe, is when that was. After a just a that was not a good homestand that the Blues had, losing 4-2 to, or was it 5-2 to Pittsburgh, losing 5-2 to Montreal. Just not a good homestand in a place where the team is usually good at home.
Hmm. Yeah.
So they're looking to turn it around this time on the road. And again, a very winnable 7 games. Starts out with Edmonton tonight, though tomorrow, they'll have Vancouver to contend with. However, a Ryan Miller absent Vancouver, so there's that. But for tonight, give me St. Louis to
Hmm.
defeat Edmonton here.
Yes, I am going with St. Louis too, as I said. Edmonton is not good. St. Louis is good. Kind of a no-brainer how this would go down, in my opinion. So, and finally, our last game is Ottawa against San Jose Sharks. And Ottawa has been picking it up behind rookie goaltender what's his name? Andrew Hammond.
My goodness. Andrew Hammond, by the way, the first goalie in NHL history to shut out Los Angeles and Anaheim back to back.
hmm And now he's going against the Sharks, the third part of the California Triangle there. So we will. It's kind of interesting to watch this. The Senators aren't that far out of a playoff race. They're 1 point behind Philadelphia, so
Mm-hmm.
they're still in the running. And this goaltender could be the thing that kind of helps them out there.
Is it Hammond in net
Yes, he
then
is
tonight?
confirmed to be
Yes.
in net against Antiniemi.
Mm-hmm.
So with the Sharks kind of on a dip, it seems, from what I've been able to tell. They haven't been doing really great. They're actually not in a playoff spot at this present moment. They are currently 3 points out of a playoff spot, and the Wild have a game in hand on them. Kind of interesting to see kind of how this San Jose team and also the LA Kings have been kind of not that great this year as we thought they were going to be.
Well, but that's usually the case for the Kings in the regular season.
Yeah, but to get into the postseason, you have to be good enough, and they
Mm-hmm.
haven't been really with all their, I guess, defensive problems that have been going on, and with their top line not producing as much as they were. Donze Kopitar and Marian Gaborik not having the same magic that they did in the playoffs.
Though I will say they have had that 8 game winning streak, but then it was immediately substituted for what I believe is now a 2 game losing streak at the
Yep,
moment. But
they kind of lost two in a row.
mm-hmm.
Very kind of interesting to see how this West Coast fight is going to go down.
Mm-hmm.
So, who are you picking for this?
Well, as you had noticed, I assume, I made it through all these games without my upset pick. So surely it's got to be this one. Though it's interesting considering San Jose is 3 points out of a wild card spot. Ottawa's only 1 point out.
No, they're not at 1 point out.
Oh, they're not?
They are 1 point behind Philly, who is in turn 6 points out.
Oh, okay, yeah, that. Okay, that makes me feel better about this then. The upset pick, choosing the Ottawa Senators to defeat San Jose. Andrew Hammond is amazing for them. Let's see if he can. Let's see if he can make it 3 wins. I won't say the S word. So,
Three shutouts.
oh,
I'll say it for you because I am picking San Jose.
oh, no.
I already made my upset pick, so I kind of can't.
Mm-hmm.
Ottawa. It's good. We differ on quite a bit. Hopefully, I can pull ahead a little bit more here.
Oh, well, don't call it a comeback, but I'm gonna not be 1 game behind now. I feel.
We will see. Definitely a contest here going on. We should have what stakes are we gonna do for this? We should have stakes. What kind of bet do you want to make for this, Blake?
I like steak.
I'm not gonna cook you a steak. You look too far away.
Damn.
Who?
hmm.
What could we do?
Hmm.
Obviously, we're not going to do an Ari Minnesota Dave bet. I refuse to do that kind of bet.
Oh, what's that one?
Oh, if the Minnesota Wild finish above Chicago in the rank in the standings, Ari has to for a year write every single day on I think Twitter about how awesome Dave is. She
Oh
has to
my.
change her Twitter picture to cake, I think. And there is one other thing that I can't remember. But if Chicago finishes above Minnesota, Minnesota Dave has to get a tattoo with Ari's name in it.
Oh, good lord.
Yep.
My goodness, that is crazy. Hmm.
Yeah. I think so. We're obviously not going that kind of stakes.
No.
Uh,
We
3 weeks of whatever. 3 weeks of Twitter picture change.
yeah, I kind of had the idea of maybe just a simple jersey bet.
That's a lot of
Winner
money.
winner
That's a lot
buys
of
the
money.
loser jersey. That is a lot of money
That's
though,
a
but
lot of money. I have a car payment to do, so kind of
oh
want to do this
yeah.
for free.
Yeah. Do this one for free.
Picture bet or a flare bet. We can do 3 weeks of a
Hmm.
flare bet. You would have to have a Flyers flare, and I would have to have no. You would have to have Chicago flare.
Oh,
You would have to have Chicago flare if I win, and I'm guessing I would have. What would I have to have a flare of? What are you gonna give me if you win?
I'm debating on if I want to be really horrible and have to make it a Penguins flare.
Eh, kind of had a feeling. I have a feeling that's what it was gonna be once I said Chicago.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Yeah.
to uphold the pattern, I suppose it'd have to be a Penguins flare then.
Okay.
But
For
the ugly one,
yeah, which ugly one?
um, the older one, the
The RoboPen.
no, not that one. That one was actually really good. I missed the Robo.
So the one that's kind of all circly.
Yes.
Like okay. Okay, and how long did we say it was gonna be? 2 weeks? Let's go with 2 weeks.
Yeah, 2 weeks.
Okay. It's a bet.
Alrighty.
Okay.
There
Now
you
that we
go.
have. So, do you have anything else you wanted to cover? Because we hit all of our games.
Let's see. A quick scoring update. Ooh, three more goals in the second period. This is the Detroit and Nashville game. In the second period, 2:03 into the period, Drew Miller snaps his fourth goal home, an assist by Tomas Yurko. However, Nashville makes back-to-back goals. Matt Cullen at 2:33, his sixth, and Mike Fisher his 15th, with assists by Cody Franzen and Matt Cullen. That one comes in at 6:02 the second period. They are now tied at two.
Hmm. And with no change in the scoring in Buffalo and Florida. So,
And currently, somebody was on a power play. Florida is on a power play.
mhm. And it looks like Rosk is uncertain against Coyotes. So Rosk
Hmm.
might not be in tonight.
Well, so then, in favor of Malcolm Subban, I assume.
Uh, is that their backup right now? So it's not Svenberg or something? Who is their backup? Let's see. Their backup is currently Nicholas Svenberg.
Well,
So he would be their starter. So and I do not see anything else changing here.
oh, and the shots on goal in the Buffalo Florida game is a big update. I mentioned that Buffalo's leading in the early stages
Oh,
of the first 3-1 in shots.
wow.
Buffalo now has, or Florida, I mean, now has a 22-8 advantage in
And
shots.
Florida had just scored a goal, so it's 2-1 Buffalo now.
Yes, waiting for the scoring
It
update.
is Brandon Puri with assists by UC Jokinen and Brad Boyles.
Brad Boys. Ooh, I remember that guy. And that one was on the power play. That was Peary's 10th of the season, 12:01 into the second. Florida is now on the board.
Go
And
Buffalo.
according to my Game Center app, Florida is on a 5-on-1 power play.
I don't feel like that's possible.
Buffalo's gonna Buffalo.
Buffaloing so hard.
Oh,
Uh,
goodness. Though, actually, now I guess all of a sudden Florida is on a 5-on-3 power play. So, are they? I think
Uh,
that's what I see.
I'm not sure.
Huh.
I'm not sure what's going on.
I don't know. Anyway.
He scored with 6 seconds on the 6 second 5-on-3. Now they
Oh.
with 2 seconds left in it, so now there is a 5-on-4 penalty.
Okay. My app is being all wonky then. 5-on-1 power play. My goodness.
Maybe that one was supposed to be a 4.
Perhaps.
Yeah. So without anything left, I guess we will close up.
Alrighty.
Okay. I have been Dave Ball, also known as Blinson on Reddit and at Blinson1 on Twitter. That has been Blake Wood at ShatMyKirk on Twitter and BTownBomb on Reddit. You can find us on our website, ourhockeycast.com. You can look at our YouTube page, our hockeycast. You can talk to us on Twitter at our hockeycast. Look at our subreddit r/r hockeycast. And officially, we should be arriving on iTunes any time now once they approve us. We have officially submitted in, and they will hopefully be approving us soon.
Oh, yes.
And I am excited for it. So we will see. And if you don't have anything else, I guess we say goodnight.
Alrighty.
Have a good night, everybody.
Enjoy the games.